Quo Vadis, where are you going? Do you know? And do you know how to get there? This week, Jesus is talking to his disciples about being prepared. In fact, that's really the theme of all the readings. First reading reflects upon how the Israelites were prepared to flee Egypt as the last plague took the firstborn of the Egyptians and their animals, and how they were ready, their loins girt, meaning their clothes were ready to go. And their food was ready to go at a moment's notice. And that's what the gospel is about as well. Jesus talks about being prepared for the master's return. You know, the master leaves for a wedding, or he leaves to do business, and he leaves his servants in charge, and those servants have responsibilities. And so they can't worry about when the master returns, because they don't know when the master is going to return. They simply have to do their job. They have to perform their duties and do them well, so that when the master returns, whether it's early in the morning, in the middle of the day, in the middle of the night, their job is done, their duties are performed, and the master comes home and he's very happy because his servants did what he had asked them to do. Now, you and I understand what it is to take a journey. And I'm going to mention two destinations that many of you have already taken part of. This is a real popular destination. The first one is Disney World. Okay? So how would you prepare to go to Disney World? Well, you might talk to friends or family members who have already gone to Disney World and get their advice. What should they see? Where should they stay? What should they eat? You know, what rides should they go on? What parks should they go to, like Epcot, or you know, the main park, or the safari? And then you'd create a checklist so that you are prepared when you get there, so that you don't just start wandering around aimlessly Disney World because you don't know what you're doing. You're unprepared. You would buy the proper tickets. Like, you wouldn't buy tickets to Disneyland if you're going to Disney World, because if you show up at the gate, what's going to happen? I'm sorry, these are tickets for Disneyland. That's in California, and you would be out of luck. And you'd have to buy all new tickets, and boy, it would be a real problem, real hassle. You'd want to wear the proper clothing, proper shoes, because you're going to do a lot of walking. You're going to make sure your children are prepared. Their suitcases are packed. You're going to buy tickets. You're going to find flights. You're going to have all sorts of things you need to take with you so that you're ready, you're prepared. Now, you'll know the time of your arrival at the destination, and you can plan all that out. And nothing is going to interrupt that, unless your plane crashes, of course, in the Everglades or something like that. Now, that would be death interrupting your journey to your destination. Now, let's say you're going to go to France, and you would consult maybe somebody you know that has been to France. But even if you don't know anybody that went to France, you can always consult tour guides like Rick Steves. He's my favorite when I'm traveling. And I would buy a Rick Steves travel book, for France. 2025, of course, because 2021's travel guide wouldn't be much help to me, because prices change, places open and close, and I find them to be a very reliable source of information on how to plan, what to pack, what to bring, and I would prepare appropriately. Now, I would buy tickets, clothing, depending on what time of year, where in France am I going to go, and I would be prepared for that trip if I want to have a good time. And if I go unprepared, well, I'm going to encounter some problems. And once again, if the plane crashes in the middle of the Atlantic, well, I'm going to have a death. It's going to interrupt my journey to that destination of France. Now, the third destination that I want to talk about is heaven. That's what this is all about, right? And Jesus has told us about this destination, that as we live our life, this is where we're heading towards. And that in order to arrive at that destination, we have to be prepared. We have to know, what are we bringing with us to this destination? And when are we going to get there? How are we going to get there? And what do we consult? Who do we talk to about getting there? Well, we have one great travel book to get us there, and that's the Bible, where witnesses have told us about this destination of heaven and how wonderful it is, and that we should want to go there because we are Christians. We believe what Jesus said, and we believe the witnesses that heard him say it. And so we want to be prepared to get there. And so how do we get there? What can we take with us to this destination of heaven? Right? This journey that we're going to be taking one day. And we can't take clothing, and we can't take money. And actually, there's no stuff that we're going to bring with us, because as it said, you can't take it with you. Naked we came into the world, and naked we will come out of the world. That's what Job wrote, in his book. And so we're going to leave here with nothing, but the only currency that we need is love. Love of God and love of our neighbor. And so those are the only two types of currency that are going to get us to our destination. But you see, whereas death interrupted the other destinations, it is death that'll bring us to that destination if we have the right currency. So when we say the currency of love of God, we have to ask ourselves, if we're prepared, do we have a relationship with God? Do we pray to God? Do we worship God? Do we go to Mass? Do we speak praisingly of God? Or do we do the opposite? And love of our neighbor, do we care about our brothers and sisters and feed them, clothe them, give them drink, visit them when they are sick or ill or in prison? Do we care about our brothers and sisters? Do we love them? Those are the only things that we take with us when we die. And that's really the point. We are all going to die one day. No one gets out of here alive. But you see, we don't know when that's going to happen. See, like the trips to France and to Disney World, we had it all planned out. We were going to take this flight, get there during this week's, this time of year. So we had an idea of what we were going to do. You see, death doesn't have a schedule. And as a priest, I've learned, you can be young, you can be a young adult, you could be, middle-aged, you could be an elderly person in the twilight years. You don't know when death is going to come. It comes, like Jesus says, as a thief in the night. And so you have to be prepared at any time. And how are we doing that? By the way that we're living our life every day. How are we performing our duties, especially our duties of love of one another and of God? Because when that time comes, and it will come, don't kid yourself, and don't be like the servants in the gospel who are like, he's never coming, and they started partying and getting drunk and beating up each other because, he's never coming back. He doesn't care anymore. And so they stopped performing their duties, their responsibilities. You and I have a responsibility to each other. We have a duty of love towards one another and to God. So we ask ourselves this week, semper paratus, as the Coast Guard says. Always be prepared. But how prepared are we? If we were called today or tonight to take that final journey to that final destination, would we have the proper currency? Would we be prepared to make that journey? Or would we be left lost? It's up to you and to me. God bless you and have a great week.